Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I have a serious message that I want to tell people. There's been some new things that I found out that kind of go in line with the warnings that I've been telling people about the end times warnings and the things that are happening that seem to match with what the Bible said was going to happen before the great day of the Lord. And I'm just warning people, okay? Because this is very serious. Um, so hopefully somebody will come in. I know it's a kind of a weird time for me to do this, but thank you for the like. Thank you. But this is very serious. And, like I've been telling people, if you look back at my live streams and videos, there have been many signs like with since the blood moons and the total solar eclipses over the United States and the fireballs or meteors that have been increased just skyrocketed in March, and all kinds of stuff are happening. Really, it's a number of things, and it's very noticeable. Oh, hello, Africa Mom. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Anytime you come here, it's a blessing. Okay, anytime you come, and you're always welcome. How are you doing? How you doing? Um, but yeah, it's just so many things that are happening now, and some people know what see things that are happening, and some people not paying attention. But what I see is that people are seeing things, but because they're not using Bible prophecy, they don't understand what it is they're seeing, and it's very serious. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, and I pray that you'll continue to do well, and that you'll continue to be blessed, you and your family, and that that you're protected by God at all times, African Mom. Um, so let's see. Hopefully, somebody else will come into. Um, let's see. What time is it where you're at? Is it like Let's see. I think it's after 5, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're always welcome. Okay. I'm trying to remember. Did I come on your live stream a few days ago? Like, did I come on your live stream on Friday or Saturday by any chance, or was that somebody else? Because I met so many people, it's hard for me to remember sometimes. Let me know if okay, 5:20. Okay, 5:20 a.m. Okay, okay. So it's early in the morning there. So here is kind of like a thing because America has three time zones: the Western time zone, the Central, Mountain Central time zone, and the Eastern time zone, which I'm in. And so for the Eastern, some people may be going to bed, some people may be up, but then you have the people where it's like 7:30 now, so it's pretty early for them. And then the central part of America is 8:30, so it's pretty early. So it's wait a minute, is that right? Let me see. What am I saying? Yeah, 7:30. What am I talking about? It'll be 8:30. What am I missing here? It would be 8:30. Okay, but anyway, now let me look up while see if anybody else comes. Because what's been happening is um I keep seeing things that look like what the Bible said was going to happen in the Old Testament in Joel, the book of Joel, chapter 2. Okay. And there was one thing that I wasn't sure about. Okay. I'll go and read it. So um get some clearness on it. There was one thing, but it's like things keep adding up that keep happening. That's very unusual. And so Joel chapter 2 of the Old Testament or Hebrew scriptures. In the um let me see. The Okay, yeah, it will down to 30, verse 30. And it says, I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. This is talking about the end times. Okay. I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of Yahweh comes. Okay. And it says, it will happen that whoever shall call on Yahweh's name shall be saved. So the thing is, I've been telling people there has been many unusual things happening in the heavens. And one thing, like I said, the blood moon eclipses that happen on biblical holidays, that's been happening since 2014, 2015, before President Trump ran for president. And all these things are connected to him, okay? And then the eclipses, that sounds like the total solar eclipses that made an X over America, which was a serious omen. Those total solar eclipse sounds like the sun will be turned into darkness. So in the blood moons, that's the moon turning into blood. So it's a lot of things happening. And then it says there'll be blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. We've had an increase in fireballs lately. Okay, there's been an increase in fireballs that's been happening over the United States and all over the world. And it's not just a little increase, it's a very large increase. Okay. And so let me show you, for people who don't know, this is very serious. And so let me see here. Um, Here's what I'll do. Let's see here. Um, Now, American Meteor Society chart on the increase of fireballs in 2026. And get some clarification on this. So the AI overview shows, okay. So when you look on the AI overview, when you ask about if there's been an increase of of meteors coming down or fireballs, there has been, okay. And it said the Meteor Society reveals that the sightings of intense fireballs events with 50 plus witness reports roughly doubled in early 2026 compared to the previous 5-year average. Okay, so these larger fireballs, okay, these major events, more people are seeing them, and it's doubled in early 2026 and more than any other year. And what's behind this sudden increase in fireballs? Okay, and the total meteor counts remain normal, meaning an influx of larger, brighter space rocks is responsible, rather than just more people reporting them. So it's bigger, brighter. They come into the atmosphere, they last longer, and many of them explode with an audible sound. Okay, they have an explosion. So this is very serious. So that's been happening. Okay, it says the surge by numbers, instead of a proportional increase across all reports, the 2026 data shows the spike is heavily concentrated in massive, widely witnessed fireballs. So these fireballs are meteorites, okay? They're not gradual like it has been in the last few years. See, since 2011, okay, the levels of fireballs sightings, intense fireball sightings, has been slowly going up, very slowly, small increments each year, okay? Each year, small increments, okay? All the way up. Jesus coming sooner than we think. All the signs of the end are becoming clearer. Glad you talk about these things. Thank you very much, okay? Thank you very much. And it's things that need to be talked about because scientists and people who study, they have part of the puzzle, okay? They're seeing that something is happening, something unusual is happening in the world. And but for people who are looking for Bible prophecy, you have to combine those signs with the Bible prophecy. Then, only then will you get a proper understanding what's happening, okay? Now, me, I only I I'm Old Testament only, okay? I only follow the Old Testament of the Bible. And I believe that the Old Testament of the Bible is inspired, okay? I believe that the only God is Yahweh. The God of Israel, the only creator, the creator God of the Old Testament, okay? And I hold that the Old Testament of the Bible is authoritative. So I just want to let you know that I I'm not saying anything against Jesus, what you believe. I want you to know that when you see me, so you know what I believe and what I teach, okay? Um, because I believe that there's only one God, one Almighty God, and that his name is Yahweh. Okay, that's my. So I pray that what I'm saying is not offensive to you. I just want you to know the truth. Um, I believe that Yahweh is coming sooner than people think. That's my belief now. I was a Christian, but I'm not. I don't believe in Christianity anymore. It's something that happened, some series of things that happened that God showed me something. He awakened me and warned me. If I told y'all some of the things happened, some people might not believe how it happened that I came to believe like this. Okay. So that's how come I'm saying when if you ever see me, you'll notice that I read from the Old Testament only, and I'm taking these signs from the book of Joel. Because the New Testament did was it. Well, let me not get too deep into that. I'm getting into something else. But I pray that I'm not hurting your feelings in any way, and I pray that you still can learn something here, sister mom's African mom. Okay, I pray that there's something you can learn here, or maybe even agree with. Okay, because I just like to present the facts as they are. Okay, so um so there was a events with 50 or more witnesses, 38 events compared to the average of 18. Okay, so it was an average of 18 now, and then it jumped up to 38. uh there and The events with 100 uh events or more, I mean 100 people seeing these huge fireballs, have gone up from 7 to 14. And so this is very serious. Something is happening here. Okay. And the reason why I'm telling people this is to set people up for what I'm about to tell, what's happening with the volcanoes, because that's like the icing on the cake. Okay. Also, that something's happening. Let me tell you this. As I talk about the meteors, there's been an increase of asteroids, okay? Near miss asteroids, the asteroids that come close to Earth. Okay, these asteroids that I'm talking about, like here's the moon and here's the Earth. The asteroids are coming in between. Okay, so they're getting very close to the Earth. And so I did a talked about that on a video. I think it was last night. I can't remember if I talked about it the night before or the day before. But what happened? What now? Even since that video, there's been some more larger asteroids that have hit the Earth. I mean, that have come close to the Earth, and that's very significant. So you have these fireballs. Welcome, welcome. You have these fireballs that's increased over the Earth, and they're larger, and all of a sudden in 2026, and then you have these asteroids that are coming behind each other one after the other, and that's leading some people to question: is there going to be some type of impact on the Earth? Is one of these large space rocks going to hit the Earth? Is a large meteor going to hit the Earth? There's these questions. Okay, welcome, Peter Romero. Thank you for coming. uh You'll see what I'm talking about as I talk about it. I don't know if you've ever been to my channel before, but welcome. Okay, so now it says the the Anthelian zone activity from the region directly opposite of the sun nearly doubled, okay, producing 14 major events in early 2026 compared to 1 to 6 in prior years. Okay, so that's from either 1 to 6 events, jump all the way in 2026, jump to 14. That's a huge jump. Okay, then it says high declination. Enhanced activity originated from the radiance high above the ecliptic plane at 70-degree declination, producing 12 large events. Example in Ohio and California, compared to just 5 in the previous year. And for people who want to look that up, I encourage you to look that up. Yes, it's on news. Like if you look on the news, if you look up fireballs, increase in fireballs that's been happening, or fireballs over America, or type in fireball, giant, huge fireball in Ohio and California, something like that. It'll pop up and you'll see, because the one in Ohio was a huge explosion, and the one in California, it's so many of them. So it's easy to find on YouTube. Just type in fireball explosions, okay, something like that. And so now experts suggest that this anomaly represents a natural cyclical concentration of larger sporadic meteoroids than just an incoming threat. Okay, so you can review the ongoing data and see the local trajectories on the AMS Fireball Report Center. Okay, so the AMS is the American Meteor Society Report Center. So I'm going to click on that. So it's because it's important for people to understand what is really happening here. Okay. Now, so on this right here, the American Meteor Society.org. For people who want to know more about this, I recommend that you go and check this out. Okay, it's very informative. So this is the analysis of the 2026 fireball activity. It's amazing. It says, has something changed in the near Earth meteoroid environment? Okay, now that's a good question. Has something changed in the near Earth meteoroid environment? Why are all these large fireballs coming to the Earth now in these numbers all of a sudden, in these large, these numbers. Okay, so the first quarter of 2026 has produced what appears to be a significant surge in large fireball events. The data drawn from the AMS database going back to 2011 shows a pattern that warrants serious investigation. Here's what the numbers say, what they don't say, and what we need to find out. Okay. Now, let's see here. According to this, the total events of fireball sightings has been 2,322 in 2026. There's been 40 events of 50 or more sightings. There have been 16 events where 100 or more people have seen it, which is very large. Okay. And I don't know what this means here. I have to find out what that means. So let me go to this chart here. Okay. And so I'm going to start, because this chart here, what it does is goes back to 2011, reporting the number of fireballs, okay, that have been reported. It doesn't mean that there's the only fireballs that have happened. So many fireballs fall in the ocean in places where people don't see them, but the ones that are reported, okay. Now, in 2011, there were 346 events, okay. Then it went up, but slightly. In 2012, it went up to 446 events. You know what? Maybe I can show this. Let's see here. Let's see if I can do that. I don't know how well people can see. I think that it's viewable. If anybody's there, let me know if you can see these numbers, please. You know what I'll do? I'll cut this light off. That's what I'll do. 1 second here. Let's see here. Excuse me. Okay. So I'm going to cut the light off. It doesn't mean I'm going to sleep. It just means that maybe this will make this bed easier to view, hopefully. Now, because this thing is not a joke, something is happening. Something is happening in this 2026, guys. Okay? Something is happening. A lot of things are happening. Now, right here, if you can see it, let me know if you can see it. If anybody's there who can, okay, let me know if you're able to see this. So in 2011, okay, there were 346 events of large fireballs reported. And let's just look at, it was 6 events of 25 or more people, 4 events where there's 50 or more, and 1 event where 100 or more people saw the fireball. So there was only 1 event where it what looked like how can I say it? There was only 1 event that in 2011 of a really, really huge fireball. But then something happens. Let me see here. No, that won't be better. Okay. I pray that you guys can see this. Okay, so something happened. Because in 2012, we're looking at this same thing here now. We're looking at this 2012, and it jumped from 346 events to 446 events. You see that? There's a clear jump of fireballs. large fireball activity from 346 to 446. That's like 100 more reports. But it's gradual, okay? It's gradual. That's what I want people to see. It's a gradual thing. Now, from 2000, let's go down now to 2013. Right there, it jumps from 446 sightings, meteor sightings in 2012, all the way up to 757 sightings in 2013. Okay? And if you look at these numbers of the events, look straight down. It went from 6 to 11 to 19 here of 25 or more events. It went from 4 to 6 to 11. And here it went, that stayed the same. It was 2 and 2. But it was okay. But something's happening. You can see an increase. Okay. In 2014, there were 813 sightings, large sightings of meteors. Okay. And then 2015, it was 784, but it was less than 2014, but still 784 is more than what we had where it began, the first 2011 through 2013. Okay, so there's still an increased amount of meteor activity. Now, here, 2016, something happens between 2015 and 2016. The number of large fireball sightings went from 784 to 1,175 from just 1 year, 2015 to 2016. People, that's large, that's huge. What's going on? Okay, that's amazing. And ironically, that is also the year that President Trump first took office. And let me say something else. I've been telling people about the blood moons, what they call the blood moon tetrads, or the series of 4 blood moons. Okay, the patterns that's been happening. And there was some blood moon tetrads, some blood moons, very unique on biblical holidays that happened that happened between 2015. Okay, they happened from between 2014 and 2015. There were those blood moons. I keep trying to tell people that it means something. And then right after those blood moons, it in 2016, after that, it went from 784 to 1,175. That is a huge increase in number of meteor sightings or fireball sightings. Okay, that cannot be overlooked. So let's look. 2011, it was 346 sightings of meteoroids or fireballs. And then if we go up here, now we're in 2016, just 5 years later, we're up to 1,175 meteors, fireball sightings. Now, let's go to 2017. There was not an increase in that year, but still the levels of meteors, it actually went down by 20 sightings, but it's in comparison to even 2015. So we still have a high number of sightings, fireball sightings, significant sightings. Okay, let's take a look here. Let's take it. Now, 2018, we see a huge jump here. It went from 2017 to 2000. It was 1,155 fireball sightings. In 2018, it jumped all the way to 1,305 sightings. You see that? Then in 2019, it jumped from in 2018, 1,305 fireball sightings 2019, it jumped all the way up to 1,557 sightings. Those are huge jumps from 2017 to 2018 and 2019. We see in 2020, there is a jump. Okay, not as big, but like 18 by 18 more increase, but still an increase from 2019 of sightings. But it's still very high, very high number. Then something happens again. This can't be ignored. One second here, let me enlarge this. So something happens again. And right here, you see, it's from 2020, it goes from 1,575. In 2021, it jumps all the way up to 2,065 fireball sightings. That's a huge increase, people. That's a huge increase. Then, right there, 2022, there's another increase. It went from 2,065 the previous year. In 2022, then it went to 2,168. That's almost 100 more sightings than the year before. Let's keep going. Okay, right here. One second. I'm sorry. I go past there. Is that right? Yeah. 1 second here. Yeah, that is right. So then something happened. Well, no, let's take a look. Did happen, but it was actually in 2023. Okay, there was a the amount dropped of fireballs in 2023 from 2,168 the previous year down to 1,865. But as we can see, if we remember from the 2011, it's still up from the 346 that we began with in 2011. It drops down a little bit more in 2024 to 1,712. 2025, it goes back up a little bit, and it goes to 1,905. Well, that beats 2023 and 2024. Okay, now let's take a look at 2026. It went to 2,000. It went from 2025 1,905 to 2026 2,322 fireball sightings. A drastic jump. You see, even from let's see what the previous high year was. Okay, there's one. The highest year before 2026 was only 2,168. 2022, the number of fireballs that we reported was 2,168. Okay, but then it jumped all the way up to 2,322. But this is what the thing is. That happened in just a few months. We're not even halfway through the year. So these things happen like the first 4 or 5 months of this year. The year is not even over, and already we're at 2,322, folks. Something is tremendously going on here. Okay, there's a tremendous increase of fireballs compared to even 2025. Why is that? That's been a question that many people have been asking. Now, there was the Comet 3i Atlas that went by, And it was very controversial because it was doing so many unusual things. I'll still have to do a live stream on that or a video on that. Okay. And but they're saying that comet could have left a debris field. They don't know exactly what's causing it. But whatever it is, the point is it's happening. Something's going on, people. Now, I want to show you something else. Let's go to these numbers here. I want to show you from, we're not going to go over all of these, but I want to start at from 2011. And I want to show you, we're just going to look at the major events, okay? The major events, even though they all increase, the one events of, hold on one second, let's see. Um, you know what? This is worth looking at. Let's take a look at this, okay? Because I never did it this way in depth before like this. Let's take a look at this. So this is 2011. There with the events that were 25 or more, people who reported 25 or more people reported fireballs, there were only 6. In 2011, the events where 50 or more people reported the fireballs was only 4. In the largest events where 100 and more people reported the fireball was only 1 in 2011, okay? Let me see if I can okay. I'll just have to do it like this because I can't fit it all. One day I'll figure out how to do this thing. Okay, so now in 2007, 2012, which is right here, it went from, one second here, I'm sorry. When you look at, so, okay, yeah, there we go. So as the sightings increase in 2012, the 25 plus people who saw the fireballs was jumped up to 11. And the people who saw 50 plus more, the fireballs were 50 plus people or more saw them, jumped up to 6. And we have an increase of at the last one, 100 or more people who saw the fireballs was 2. Okay, but there's still an increase. Here in 2013, it went from 11 the previous year and it jumped all the way to 19 for the people who see 25 more people who see the fireball. It jumped, and then for people who 50 more people who see a fireball at one time, it jumped from 6 all the way to 11 and remained the same for the people who 100 or more. Okay, now that went down a little bit in the next year, 2014, 2015, there was an increase from 12 to 18 with the 25 people or more who saw the fireball. It went from 7 to 8, which is still a little increase, but it's an increase. People, 50 or more people who saw the fireball, and the 100 people stayed the same. What's happening here? It says the connection. Okay, it looks good. Once it said, okay. So now in 2015, 12, and the people who saw 50 or more fireballs, it jumped from 7 to 8, which is not, and it stayed consistent. It stayed till 5. When we go here, let's make sure. Okay, I'm right. Okay, I want to make sure. Now, 2016, as the number On the number of sightings are also increasing right here. The 2016, it's all the way up from 346 in 2011, and then 2014, 813, 784 is still a lot. But in 2026, it jumps up. I mean, 2016, it jumps up to 1,175 sightings of meteors. And then there's also an increase, though. What I want to show, there's an increase uh, right there from 18 the previous year to 26 in 2016. So that's a pretty good jump. It's an increase. And then we see these fireballs, it went from 8 to 14. That's a jump in fireballs, a very large jump. And it went from 5 to 9 of the 100 or more people who saw a fireball. So there's an increase going all the way across. Then let's see, something happened where it dropped down, like in 2017, the number of sightings, and it kind of dropped down a little bit, but it still was high. It dropped down from 26 to the previous year to 25, and then it dropped down from 14 to 12, and then from 9 to 6, but it still stayed high, you see. But then something happened again. In 2018, there was 1,305 sightings in 2018, but these numbers increased from for 25 or more people seeing a fireball. It jumped from 25 to 41, and for 50 or more people seeing a fireball, it jumped from 12 to 18. And for 100 or more people seeing fireballs, it jumped from 6 to 8. So there's an increase. Not that much there, but an increase from the previous year. There's not a huge difference in those, so I'm going to skip down to, let's skip down to 2021. There were 2,065 fireball sightings. And right here, it jumped up from 2020 to 2021. It jumped up from 25 people who saw the meteor from 36 to 53. It increased from 17 people who saw 20, or where 25 or more people saw a fireball, all the way up to 30. And for 100 or more people who saw a fireball, it went from 7 all the way to 15. Okay, then something leveled off here. Okay, if you look here, the numbers kind of drop a little bit, or a little bit here, and quite bigger here. Okay, but they're still high compared to the original. Now, let's just skip down. So we'll do finish up with 2025 and 2026. Again, 2025 with the fireballs, there were 1,905 sightings, and it increased to 2026 all the way to 2,322 sightings. Why? Why? And then let's take a look at the particulars here. Then we had a very large increase. In 2026, the people who saw 25 or more people saw a fireball jumped from 41 in 2025 all the way up to 70 to 70. That is a huge increase. And then 50 or more people who saw a fireball, it increased from 17 all the way to 40 in 2026. You see the drastic jumps here, drastic increases. And then here you see from 2025 to 2026, the sightings with 100 or more people who reported them went from 5 and jumped to 16 in 2026. So all here you see a higher average. Hello, KDV, welcome, welcome. And you look here, and it matches also the increase from 2025, 1,905 sightings, and jumps up all the way to 2,322 fireball sightings in 2026. Folks, that's a major increase. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. How are you doing? Let me know how you're doing. It's good to see you. So good to see you. Okay? So good to see you. Let me know how you're doing. So now I will cut the light back on, this light here. 1 second. And then let me know how you're doing. It's good to see you here. Thank you for the like. Thank you, thank you. And so now, okay. Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me give you a mod, okay? Let me make you mod. Okay, you should see the blue there, sister. So I don't know who's here. I don't know this person. It's a new person. But please, if you don't know African Mom's World, if you're still here, the two of you connect. Any of you can connect, but she'll be a good, y'all be good people to connect with each other, okay? If you can hear me, African Mom's World, please connect with Korea Donna as well. Okay. Now, if as you saw that, there was a drastic increase in major fireballs in the sky. And some of these fireballs were different than others that we normally see. Some of them don't look like regular meteors. Okay, thanks. I'm sure, I don't know if African Mom's not here, I'm sure she will return you. Okay, she'll return you. Okay. Now, well, so now I was going to do something else, but what I want to do. Yeah, let me show you this, read you this. So the reason why more people are seeing the sonic booms with these meteors, okay, it says physical characteristics. Sonic booms confirm larger objects. From what I understand, that the fireballs that make sonic booms or that sound explosions that sound like a cannon, those make those noises because they're larger and they're able to get farther down into the atmosphere without disintegrating. Okay. So when they do go with them being larger, it's a more violent explosion. Okay. And it says now, if the fireballs were simply being seen by more people due to favorable conditions, we would not expect changes in the physical characteristics reported by witnesses. But the data shows elevated rate of delayed sound reports, sonic booms reaching the ground, which requires objects that penetrate deep enough into the atmosphere to produce pressure waves. Okay, so this something is happening. And that's why some people are asking if Okay, if it's possible, some people are worried that maybe uh, a larger meteor could possibly hit the Earth, one that's big and one that survives and makes a is big and makes an impact. And also at the same time, we have those asteroids in the Earth, in that are coming. A huge number of large asteroids that are coming in between the moon and the Earth. Say this is the moon and the Earth. The asteroids are coming in between, and that's very close for those standards, the asteroid standards. And there's been an increase in those at the same time. So something is going on, and so that's why I'm telling people about what I'm saying about what the end time scripture says, okay? Because it says that in the end, let's go back to Joel chapter 3 for a second, then I'll get into the volcanoes. Okay. Now, um, I'm sorry, let me see here. Did I tell you what, I'll just look it up again. 1 second here. Joel chapter 2, World English Bible. Because what's happening to me looks like what the Bible said was going to happen before the day of the Lord comes. Okay? Something's happening. And this cannot be overlooked. It cannot be overlooked. Now, let's go back. So, the signs in the heavens, it says that in Joel chapter 2, verse 30, I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth. Could those asteroids, the ones that are getting close to the earth now, could that be the signs? Also, the fireballs, the drastic number of fireballs that have been happening on the earth. And something else has been happening too that's very unusual. The northern lights that people normally see up north, okay, in Canada and maybe the northern states, have been going down south all the way as far as Florida. People are reporting seeing the northern lights, or what's called the aurora borealis. The same thing in Hawaii. Hawaii didn't used to get northern lights, but now the island of Hawaii in the Pacific Ocean is getting, people are seeing the northern lights, or what's known as the aurora borealis. That is very unusual. Okay, so the auroras are moving southward. Okay, these things that are happening are unprecedented, not precedented. They're unprecedented. And also, um, let me. So so then in the next sentence, I'll say, so verse 30 says, I will show wonders in the heavens and the earth. And believe me, I believe that there's going to be more bigger wonders and more spectacular things to happen before the end. Because if it okay, if I'm wrong, then maybe okay. But if I'm right, if this is right, what I'm seeing, then I would expect for something as a big event such as the day of the Lord before the God returns. I would expect some very huge events to mark the occasion, because this is not a little thing, folks. This is not a little thing. This is a very huge occasion that people have been looking for thousands of years. So now let's get to another part of it. So the wonders in the heavens and the earth, the blood, fire, could that be the blood moons? There's also been reports in places like Australia of a different kind of the way that the skies turned red. It turned red. It was different than normally it would. It was a very blood red type of red. And so then the fireballs, is that what we're seeing? Something's happening here. The guy said we see it. It says we see these things before the great and terrible day of Yahweh comes, which is another name for God or the Lord. Now, or which is Yahweh is God's name. It's not another name. It is God's name. So let's look at something else. In verse 30, it also mentions that there will be pillars of smoke. I think that I mentioned about this on previous videos, at least one. I'm not sure, but I know that I've talked to people about it, and I prayed to God about this to understand what pillars of smoke are. And the only things that I could think of were volcanoes. And so I have watched channels and read up about volcanoes, the volcano activity that have been going on, okay? And it seems like there's always a certain number of volcanoes erupting all over the earth at a certain time, but there's something where the older volcanoes are awakening. Volcanoes that have been dormant, that human beings have never seen erupt, are waking up. They are erupting. Why are these things erupting? Pillars of smoke. Because think about this. If there's something that was going to happen to warn us about the end times, it would have to be something very unusual, or it wouldn't be a sign because people wouldn't know. So God is not a God of confusion. He said he would warn people. There would be signs, and so there must be something with the signs that God shows for the end times that is different from what we've normally been seeing. Okay, and that's what is very important to understand, that these things that we're going over, that I'm talking about today, are things that are unusual, that have not been occurring before. Okay. And so that's what, so when I talk about the columns of smoke, okay, the pillars of smoke in the air, I said before, what could cause that? Volcanoes. Is there something else that can cause pillars of smoke? Certainly. There may be things that cause pillars of smoke yet that we have not seen, because nobody can predict the ways of God. Nobody can say they know what God is going to do for certain unless he tells them. We must not ever underestimate what God can do. I believe, and I have been telling people, that before the end, before the day of the Lord, that there's going to be people see things that they never thought they would see in their lives. People are going to see things they did never see in their lives. There's going to be people surprised and caught off guard by the things that they see coming up, that are coming. So that's what I believe. Okay. But these things are happening if people pay attention and see it, or people know. Okay. So now, in addition to these fireballs happening and these asteroids, the near Earth occurrences of these asteroids passing closely between the moon and the Earth, which is very close, which also has people wondering, scientists or people who study those type of things, if there could possibly be bigger asteroids that could collide with the Earth. Those questions have to be asked. Okay, they have to be asked. Okay, anyway, so I was watching a show called Ray's Astrophotography, okay? And he was talking about these things. And so I believe he did this today. And I recommend people check out his channel, okay? Because he does very well talking about things that are happening with volcanoes and earthquakes. And he looks in space. He's what do you call it? An astrophotographer. He's This is field. He does things like that. So, but the name of it is sleeping volcanoes are waking up, and scientists don't know why. Okay. Please check him out if you've never seen him. Now, what he was talking about, which is very significant, is that there was a there's a volcano. Okay, now it's never erupted in human history. It's called the Haley Gubby volcano. It's Haley. It's Hayli Gubby or Gooby volcano. Let me write this down, just in case I am saying it wrong. Okay. Okay, let me write this down. Okay, so this is the name, if you can see here, the Haley, well, Gubby volcano. And this is in Ethiopia in the Afar region. Now, the status is that it erupted in November 23rd of 2025. Okay, and but that's not the most magnificent thing about this eruption. Now listen why this is important and why this could be possibly a sign from God. Possibly, because these unusual things are happening. He said, and the evidence shows that this is the first time in human history that the Haley Gubby volcano in Ethiopia has erupted. The first time in human history that's ever been recorded. And some scientists believe that this volcano has not erupted in 12,000 years. In fact, he said that it probably was an ice age the last time that this volcano erupted. So it's never in recorded human history that we know, it's never erupted. But now in November the 23rd of 2025, it starts getting active. Okay. And ironically too, it is across from the Erta El volcano in Ethiopia as well. It's not far from the Erta El volcano, which is also the world's most active volcano. So here you have in Ethiopia, you have the Haley Gubby volcano right here that has never erupted. And then it's not a long distance here in Ethiopia, you have a volcano, which ironically called the Erta El volcano, which is the world's most active volcano. So you have those two contrasts. And so that's what's amazing. So you got a volcano erupting that's never erupted in human history. The next is the Krashenikov. Okay, it's called the Krashenikov volcano in Kamchatka, in the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. I know that name. Many people may know that name of Kamchatka because there was a huge 8.8 earthquake there. Okay, in 2025. And so that's in Russia. It erupted. Now this volcano erupted in August the 3rd of 2025, and it's still actively erupting now. There have been lava flows in April of 2026. There have been lava flows. Now, it erupted after the 8.8 magnitude earthquake. Okay. It erupted after the 8.8 magnitude earthquake, which did cause tsunamis in that local region. I know that in certain areas there's one that hit. It's nothing like the huge tsunamis that hit Indonesia and in Japan in 2011, but still the same. There was some tsunamis and they caused damage. I can't remember about the death tolls or anything like that. I have to look that up. But nevertheless, this Krashenikov volcano, it erupted after that 8.8 earthquake. And also, that earthquake was the sixth strongest earthquake in recorded history. The last time this volcano erupted was 600 years ago. Okay, so this guy, he mentioned that this was before Columbus sailed the world. It was before the Aztec civilization, 600 years ago. Now, another one he said is Mount Kuprianov of the Alaskan Peninsula. There never has been active in human history. Never. This is another volcano that has never been active in human history. Okay, but now it's been dormant, and no one has expected it to do anything to erupt. But now there's only plumes of smoke would come up. Okay, so it did have plumes of smoke come up, but never any lava or any explosions or anything dangerous, anything like that. Okay, and it said, the question is, this volcano, the question was asked, how did this volcano that was dormant for human life, for as long as human life has been on the planet, they say, this volcano has been dormant. How can it go from dormant and never erupting in human history to having an unassigned, to having a yellow status or an advisory? Okay, and people are tracking it now. That it went to an advisory. So it had an unassigned status, which meant nothing. Now, a yellow or advisory. It moved, the Mount Kuprianov moved from a phase one volcano, to a phase 6 in the matter of a few months. Something's happening. So that is huge for yet another volcano that has never erupted in human history to now in February 2026. Okay, it says there have been 3 volcano alerts. There have been the Kuprianov volcano, and it's in the Alaskan Peninsula. The Pavlov volcano, it's in the Alaskan Peninsula. The Shishaldin volcano in the Alaskan Peninsula, and also the Great Sitkin volcano, which is in the Aleutian Islands. So all these are around the Alaskan area, okay? And but why in February 2026? When then you have these fireballs, an unprecedented number of fireballs. Something is happening, folks. Something is happening, very serious. And it cannot be ignored. Which I know that you're not supposed to ask what's next. I know that some people say never ask what's next. But what's next? So you have all these things happening at one time. And so let's take a look here what is said here. Welcome, Indiana. Welcome, Indiana Funny Farm. Welcome. Thank you for coming. You're very welcome here. How are you doing? Let me know how you're doing. let and tell me something else. I believe that I subscribe to you, okay? Let me know if you saw my subscription. I believe that I did it. I thought I did, but let me know if you saw that I did. Hello, good, good, good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad to hear that you're doing good, and you're always welcome here. Okay, you make yourself at home if you want to. Kick your feet up if you want to. Relax. Um, I don't know how long you've been there, um, but there's some things going on that the Bible said would happen before the great and terrible day of Yahweh or the Lord. There's been a huge increase of fireball activity, a huge increase in 2026 of these their loud explosions, and you may have heard about them on the news. In particular, the Ohio fireball that exploded. Earlier in the video, let's see, it will depend on if your subs are public. I can tell. Oh, I just got off of work and saw you. Okay, okay, good. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. You know why? Because you could have turned on something else. You didn't have to click on me, but yet you did it and you came, and I appreciate it. Okay. And I do have a message for people to warn them that many signs from God, that the God Yahweh of the Old Testament said would happen, such as in Joel chapter 2, are happening. In addition to these large fireballs that's increased, um, if you get a chance, if you want to know, go back toward the beginning of this live stream, and that's where I talked about the fireballs, and I show the graph. I show how they've increased since 2011. The fireballs or the meteors sightings have increased in small increments. Then if you from 2011, then they started going up a little bit more, a little bit more. Then something happened, and then they by the time 2000, like say 2017, 2018 came, there was an increase. It went kind of level for a couple of years. Yes, you're very welcome to. I know that you are busy and you have things to do, but what I'm saying, if you have time and you're interested in these things and you want to know what I'm talking about, you know you're very welcome to go back and look at it. Okay. Um, and so then in 2026, it went like this. Okay, wait, there was and scientists are noticing it. They're asking why. So all these things are happening at one time. You also have these near Earth asteroids that are passing between the Earth and the Moon, which is very unusual. There's been an increase. I did a video on this. I don't remember if it was last night or the night before, but since that video, there have been more near Earth asteroids that got close to the Earth. And they're between the moon and the Earth. That's very close for an asteroid. And people are wondering another, just as they're asking about the meteors, is something bigger coming? Because these things are getting bigger. What does it mean? Is there something bigger? They're not saying they know that something bigger is going to come that will hit the Earth, but there's definitely something happening here. And at the same time, the northern lights are being seen, the aurora borealis, all the way down to Florida, in Hawaii, places that down south, places people never saw the auroras, never saw it. The northern lights are happening now. The North Pole is switching places, is moving, actively moving quickly to another place. The North Pole, as we knew it as children, is no longer the North Pole. Also, other weird things have happened. Are you aware that the Earth's gravitational pull is now going backwards? No, not the gravitational pull. It's the Earth's electromagnetic field is now moving backwards. It was going this way. It stopped spinning that way, and it's actually going backwards now. Why? And what does it mean? So, you know, there's been rumblings in unusual places and increased earthquake activity in places. It's just something going on here. Okay. And all this is happening after these blood moon eclipses, like Joel chapter 2 says, where it says that there be the sun would turn dark and the moon would turn to blood before the great and terrible day of God. See, and also emphasize how President Trump is that is part of the Bible prophecy. That President Trump was born. If you, I don't know if you know it, how many people uh um there are. He was called the blood moon president because President Trump was born. Of the day he was born, there was a blood moon. And also, he was born 700 days before the modern state of Israel became a nation. So 700, being born 700 days, that number is a very perfect number. It'd be different. It was like he was born 637 days. No, 700 days exactly. 7 stands for completion and perfection in biblically. Okay. So for him to be born on a blood moon, and then there was a series of blood moon tetrads, which are 4 blood moons in a row. When before President Trump ran, there were 3 that happened in one tetrad from 2014 to 2015. There were 3 blood moon eclipses before President Trump ran for president. Before he announced, that's what happened. Before he announced he was going to run. And then after President Trump announced he was going to run for president, then there was another blood moon eclipse, lunar eclipse. And then there was some more. I know that there was another one halfway directly in President Trump's first midterm, right in the middle, there was a blood moon. And then with all this other stuff going on, there was a blood here in March the 2nd and 3rd. Okay. And I told people, ironically, I said, you watch and see, you know, with all this war going on, I said, and other things, I said, all you know what is going to break loose. And it has. I told people things are going to get crazy after this blood moon, and they have. And then what's also ironic is that at that around the time of the lunar eclipse, the blood moon lunar eclipse of March 3rd, 2nd, and 3rd of 2026, that's also the time when the meteor, the fireball sightings of large fireballs skyrocketed. They skyrocketed at that same time. Okay. And so you have all these things are going on. Unusual. And so and then something else that people need to realize, that blood moon eclipse on March the 2nd and 3rd was on the holiday, the biblical or Jewish holiday of Purim. And Purim in the Old Testament of the Bible, it marked the time when the Israelites were saved from the Persians. It was a celebration to mark the time when the Israelites were saved from the Persians. Well, guess who the Persians are? Who those Persians? It's the modern day Iraqis. That's in the Bible. That's who the celebration was for, from being saved from. So you have this blood moon that marks Purim, the biblical holiday of Purim, which celebrated the Israelites being saved from the Persians or Iraqis at the same time when Israel and America are bombing the Iraqis, and the Iraqis are bombing them back. You can't make this stuff up, and I hope that this is making sense to people. I pray that it's a blessing, that maybe you can learn something that you didn't know or something, or maybe you can teach me something I don't know, but there's something going on unusual, and this pattern in the last few months, something is happening. Okay, so like the Bible says, if God was going to, when he warns about the end, it can't be something that happens all the time, because then it wouldn't be a warning. It would be business as usual. For God to warn people, he'd have to show us things that are unusual, that are things that never happened before. And those things are happening now. I mean, we did in the last few months, the Haley Gubby or Haley Gubi volcano in Ethiopia erupted on November the 23rd of 2025. It erupted, and it was the first time that that volcano erupted in human history. They didn't even expect it to erupt. It's never erupted in human history, and they said that the scientists estimate that it's been 12,000 years since that volcano has erupted. That's a long time ago. So it can't be ignored that this Haley Gubby or Haley Gooby volcano erupts a few months ago, really, November 23rd, 2025, and then a few months later, you have in March, you have this huge uptick in fireballs. Okay, and so let me see. 1 second here. Um, Let me see if I can pull this up. Uh, I should have left it up when I had it before. Oh, hold on. Okay. American Meteor Society increase in fireballs 2026. Oh yeah, you saw one. Oh, okay, you saw one last week. What was it like, Sister Indiana? What did you see? Can you describe it? Would you call it spectacular? Well, I think for most people who don't normally see fireballs, it's a spectacular period. But please tell me what if you can, what you saw, sister. I mean, and when you saw it, how did you feel? I mean, did you get have some type of reaction? You saw it, or um, what did you get from it when you saw it? If you did get anything from it, it looked like an explosion in the sky. Okay, okay. Now let me ask you: is this something? Was it on the news? Because some fireballs only a few people see, but then you have the larger ones where a lot of people see. I wonder if that's one that is on the news. People can look it up. Um, did you notice any explosion like some people are noticing? Kept watching for trucks or sirens, but nada. Okay, because okay, oh, so you watch for fire trucks or sirens. So to me, if you were looking for fire trucks and sirens, you expected that thing possibly could have hit something on the ground. That's what I'm getting from that. Is that it was that big and bright and close to the ground that you thought that it could have hit something. That's I'm not sure that's what you mean, but I think that's what you mean, Sister Indiana. Please let me know if you're able to safely type. Okay. Because I don't know if you're still driving or not. Um Now, as we wait for Sister Indiana's response, if she's able to, for people who may have just come on, okay, I'm just going to read here. You can look this up too. This AI, the AI overview. Okay. Oh, so okay. That was a pretty significant fireball then, and I think there have been at least a couple reports of people where the meteorite actually has hit, like I can't remember if it hit a house, went through a roof or something. I know that there's people who found meteorites. I have to go back and look again. But see, that's not surprising because it says the American Meteor Society recorded a significant, unprecedented spike in large fireball sightings and sonic boom producing meteors in early 2026, with the quarter one figures roughly doubling compared to the 5 year historical average. So, so I mean, these, I'll show you. The surge was exceptionally concentrated in March. Um, Now it says while the total number of meteors has remained relatively normal, astronomers observed a striking increase in larger and brighter rocks entering the atmosphere. So there's been an increase of the big boys, the larger, brighter rocks, and so that's why some people are wondering, well, is something bigger coming? You know, something possibly dangerous. Hope not, pray not. Um, Now I want to show this for people who may have just came on. Just a little section of this American Meteor Society. This little graph here. I just want to show just a little section of it. Now this database, American Meteor Society, you can look this up too. It's the American Meteor Society.org. Wait a minute. I think it's .org. And so this goes back to 2011, this database. So I'll just read a portion of it. In 2000, let me see if I can. In 2011, okay, there were 346 total reported meteor sightings. 346. Okay. And 1 second here. Oh, that's already set. So all I have to do is turn it. Well, I have to cut. I'll just tell you. So in 2011, there were 346 total events. And then it went up to gradually up the next year, 2012, 446. 2013, 757. So you see there's a gradual increase. Something's going on from 2011. 2014, 813. 2015 went down a little bit to 784. Then 2016 went up to 1,175 of meteor reported sightings. Then it went down just a little bit, maybe 20 less, 2017 to 1,155. Then it went up 2018 to 1,305, 2019 1,557 fireball sightings. Okay, 2020 it went up to 1,575, which is like 20 more, little over 20 more, 22 more sightings. Then a huge increase happened from 2020 to 2022 of fireball sightings. They jumped up from 2006. No, I'm sorry. They jumped up from 2020 from 1,575. In 2021, they jumped up to 2,065. And then in 2022, the fireball sightings jumped up from 2,065 to 2,168, which is like 103 more sightings than the year before. Then it went down a little bit in 2023, 1,865. It went down a little bit in 2024. It went down to 1,712. But compared to the number in 2011, it was only 346 reported sightings. So you see, it's still a very high number. Then it went up a little bit. Okay, now let's look at 2025. It went up a little bit to 1,905 sightings. In 2026, it went from 1,905 sightings, meteor sightings in 2026 to 2,322 sightings. Okay, that's a huge jump. And that's just in the first quarter. From I think from what, January to March or January to April, something like that. It went from, in 2025, 1,905 meteor reports all the way to 2,322 in 2026. Okay, so that's a huge jump. So that's like, you're looking at a 400 and is that what, 417 looks like, yeah, 417 more meteor reports than it was in the previous year. And that's just in the first few months of the year. So something's going on, people. And it should not be ignored. Okay. For one, okay, even if you people who's not looking for Bible prophecy, I would say that it would still be important for people to pay attention to what's going on in the skies. People need to look up in the skies to see what's going on. But if you're looking to see Bible prophecy fulfilled, this is very significant because we're seeing. Let me tell you something too. It's not just the blood moon eclipses. There was the 4 moons also that they saw, I believe, in February of this year, 2026. I believe it was February. I did a video and I told people that in the 2019 super blood wolf moon in January, I think it was January 19th, I'm not sure, but it was in January. I told people that I saw 3 moons overlapping each other and they couldn't see it. So I looked at other things and I could only see one of them. So I said, there's nothing wrong with my eyes because I see one of everything else. But when I looked up at the moon, I could see 3 moons. I was like, you guys can't see that? I said, there's 3 moons overlapping each other right there. 3. I said, it's as clear as day. They looked, they couldn't see it. Well, knowing me, I went and looked again later, and so I asked again, can you see it? People was like, no. That's what it looked like. There was a bigger one. There was a smaller one that was overlapped by the big one. Then there was a smaller one that was overlapped by that one. They were kind of staggered and overlapped from big to small like that. Okay, I saw it clearly. but nobody else could see it. And I looked at the street lights. I said, okay, let me see if it's my eyes. I looked at the street lights. They were one. Everything else looked like one. And so I was like, what's going on here? Because I'm seeing everything else one, but I'm seeing three moons. While everybody else is seeing one blood moon, I'm seeing three. Now, I did a video about that. That was the first time, I believe I think that's the first time I ever told about that in a video. And the next day in Russia, listen to me now, the next day in Russia, they saw 4 reddish orange moons in the sky over St. Petersburg. Now, I've heard of coincidences, but come on. Now, yeah, yeah. But I saw it, and ironically, what's the chances that I did a video about it the day before, and the day after I reported seeing 3 moons overlapping, 3 blood moons, they had 4 the next day. They had 4 what looked like 4 moons over St. Petersburg, Russia. They saw it from more places in Russia, but that was the main place. And people have never seen anything like that. And it shocked people because they said the moons also seem to be moving around. And I guess when you say not everybody has eyes to see, are you talking about people who can see a little bit more than most people are able to see? I'm thinking that that's what you mean. And so please let me know, Sister Indiana. And so they said that that's, hello, Janai. Welcome. Thank you for coming. You're so welcome here. It's so good to see you. Good to see my friends here. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Please let me know how you're doing. Thank you so much. Thank you for the love. Thank you. Okay, that's what you're saying. Sister Janat, I don't know if you've met. Thank you so much. Thank you for the love. So, I'm sorry. Let me give you the so many things on my mind. Let me give you the moderator as well, Sister Jeanette. Let me see here. Thank you for the love. Faith, is that you? Faith, is that you? Are you sneaking up on me again? Or is that, let me know if that's you. That is you. You're giving me hundreds. That's you? Thank you for coming, Sister Faithy. Thank you. So yeah, I want you in Indiana. Please, let me see. What did I just do here? Please hook up with each other. Let me see. Standard. Okay. You should be a standard moderator now, Sister Jeanette. So thank you for the love and the encouragement there. Now, so they call those 4 moons that were over Russia that they saw, they called them, I think, moon dogs. Or yes, nice to meet you. Nice, everybody. We have love for each other, and support each other. I'm glad. I'm so thankful. I you never know. I mean, life, you never know. It's a blessing because you never know who's going to pop up. And so you're so welcome here. Relax. relax with me, sister. Like I told sister in Indiana, have relax and take a rest. You can chill with us if you have time. You may not have time, but if you want to, you just relax with us. Um, so I'm going over end time signs. I'm telling people about possible end time signs that the Bible is talking about, and they're very clear. And it's unusual things that are happening that had never happened before, and people are looking around like, what is this? So I see a lot of people, they're seeing the signs, they're talking about them, but most people are that I have not seen anybody connecting them with Bible prophecy. And when you do, it matches what it said was going to happen in Joel chapter 2. So, but yeah, those 4 moons over Russia, they said they're called moon dogs, and that the other name for it, I believe, is called parasailing, which is some type of the way that the sky is um ice crystals or something the way that a certain condition in the sky that makes it possible for those types of reflections or whatever. That's what they say. Some people agreed with that. You're welcome. You're welcome. And some people agreed with that. Some people didn't. Now, okay, but well, but it appears to be an old phenomenon. But the point is, it doesn't matter how God makes signs, whether we can explain it or whether we can't explain it. A sign is a sign, okay? And to have these things happening, you know what? I told people then, I said that means something too. I said that's not a coincidence. Those 4 reddish orange moons over Russia that people saw over St. Petersburg, look it up if y'all haven't seen it. That's a sign from God. I told him it's something's going to happen. It means something. And now with this Iran war, Russia and China and North Korea have been helping Iran, and China has been helping Iran to target U.S. targets, and they have been. Thank you for the likes. They have been, and the Iran has. I don't know if you've been seeing the true real news reports. They're showing satellite images of the before and after of U.S. bases. U.S. bases have been destroyed over there in the Middle East. It's like where there was buildings, it's like big black holes like there now. The soldiers had to go flee from the military bases and go live in hotels. So there's a lot of things going on. And something happened that probably a lot of people didn't think was going to happen. Iran is winning. And they're saying that there's a lot of U.S. casualties, but they're just not being reported. Okay, they're saying it's a lot of thousands. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's not that I'm gloating about it or not that I'm enjoying that fact. I'm just telling something's going on in one way or the other. Okay, something big is coming. Everything that I told people, I've been warning people. I told people, I said that God, the signs from God show that Israel and America are under God's judgment and that something's going to happen to them. I warn people not because um, I'm being mean, it's because what's the use of me coming on here lying? If I'm gonna come on here, I'm gonna tell the truth, and I'm not gonna lie. And then if I lie, God will punish me because he's the one who has me here. It's not from my own. I know that God means for me to be doing this, and I could tell you stories how I know that. But the point is that I've been telling people, and what I've been saying, I told people in videos, and now what's happening? Do you know that the the Iranians destroyed I think 25 Israeli warehouses filled with weapons, ammo. They destroyed Iranians, and they're not just little bombs, okay? They're hitting the Israeli warehouses with pinpoint accuracy. They destroyed all of them. They destroyed the numbers that I saw was like 50,000 tons of ammo, Israeli ammo. Do you hear me? They just in those 25 warehouses that they destroyed the estimates were 50,000 tons of ammunition. So they destroyed so much Israeli ammunition. And when you lose that much, it it's like it really changes the fight. And you've lost so much, where you gonna get the ammunition to keep fighting? I mean, that's huge. And also, the US has been running out of missiles, right? Now they said the numbers that I got, see, this is all tying into the judgment. I've been warning people since that total solar eclipse came in April the 8th of 2024 that made an X over America. I warned people, I said, God's judgment's going to fall on this place. And it's not something that I wrote about, because guess what? I live in America, and it's my home, and it's the home that's all we've ever known, most of us. And I love my home as far, because that's memories, and I love the place. It's like been a lot of blessings, but I'm just telling the truth that God Almighty, God's signs are showing. And what I warned, I told it is happening. They were I don't know. This is what I heard, and I think I heard it more than once on these news thingies, that the US was able making 135 drones a year, if I'm not mistaken. That was the number that I heard, that I got. Iran is making 500 drones a day. Their drone making abilities and missile making abilities have not been stopped. They have underground facilities that are not touchable from the top of the ground. They're still pumping out weapons right now. Okay. Welcome everyone. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for coming. Thank you. And so now, thank you for the light as well. Make yourself at home. So what I'm saying is, this is the judgment that I told you. It's God's judgment. Listen here. So they destroyed the Israeli defense forces warehouses, 25, all those thousands of tons of weapons. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I should be saying that, but I'm here running my mouth so much, I'm not even doing that. Thank you for helping me, because I sure did forget, Sister Jeanette. Thank you. And so now listen. So and so I forget how many missiles they're able to pump out. I can't remember that number, but they're every day they're pumping out missiles, lots of missiles, more than the US was, for a cheaper price. So they can afford to make more missiles. It's cheap. They're the way they're doing it. And they're in every day they keep replenishing. But the other stockpiles of the US and Israel have been destroyed or being used up. Soldiers are over there starving. US soldiers, there's been people write letters home asking for food. They're starving. US on ships, and ground soldiers are starving because they can't get food. They can't get food. Done driving hard, only being able to answer. Okay, okay, yeah. I appreciate it. I mean, because yeah, that's why I was saying I didn't know if you were still driving. But I'm glad that you made it, where you to your destination safely, and don't want you to, but I appreciate your participation. I really enjoyed that. I'm thank you so much, um, Sister Indiana. And Jeanette, I really appreciate you coming. It's been a blessing. There's somebody else who came earlier, a couple other people. I appreciate you all too. Now, I said that to say, but that's not all. Um, I heard that, but it wasn't just a lack of planning or like that, but also that the ability to for the supply lines to be able to distribute these things has been destroyed by the Iranians. And also the same thing with the Israeli defense forces too. Their soldiers are starving. They've run out of food, and the Iranians have destroyed their ability, their to give. If you don't believe me, go look these things up on the news that I'm telling. Look up the different the some American news sources are telling these things now, but you foreign news sources just look and see that I'm telling you the truth. And so you know, I'm not gloating because guess what? Those are human lives. Soldiers are over there suffering. And I don't know if they've been sent. The thing about it is when you have people at leadership that never tells the truth, that lies all the time, how do you know then? If there's something you really need to know that's important, that they're telling the truth. How do you know when people don't ever tell the truth? If people in a very bad situation, like families, I'm sure families and friends of those who are overseas, people have questions. And so, but this is not a political thing or against any person. It's just a truth thing, okay? It's just I'm telling and how this is connecting to Bible prophecy. Because my thing is, my warning was that things are not going to go well. Because when God has his judgment on something or someone, there's no way to escape it. And so I've done videos previously showing why God's judgment is on upon America and other nations as well. But it's just so many things happening at once. And then it makes me think too, with all these fireballs, even Sister Indiana saw one herself, a very bright one. That are those fireballs an omen? Okay, thank you so much for coming. Look here, you're always welcome, and I'll give you a visit too. I support you, and it's be you made my I'm telling you, made my day by coming. I mean, really, I've really enjoyed having you here. Thank you for helping me, you know, telling people to subscribe and stuff like that. Thank you so much. And thank you, Sister Indiana, for driving and 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 still participating in the chat. You're so both so appreciated, okay? And may God bless you, Sister Jeanette, in Indiana too. God bless you, and and may you have peace from God's protection around your life, you and your loved ones, and that you're blessed in all that you do. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, now the weirdest thing I ever saw. I bet it was because I'm thinking that with the size of some of these meteors, people have never seen before. In other words, they're going to get deeper into the atmosphere and they're going to explode bigger. They're going to make a bigger show, a bigger a bigger fireworks show. So my thing is like this. This I won't go much longer, but my thing is like this. Are those are the meteors, because this is happening worldwide, okay? But I know specifically over America, even South America too. These things are happening. I think they mentioned, was it Argentina, somewhere like that. I have to go back and look, but there's been places. Are these fireballs an omen of something? If something bad is going to happen, because these things are dropping at the same time missiles are falling over in the Middle East. Isn't an omen? I don't know. Could it be? Yeah, I mean, it's a sign. And then to top it all off, there's something else that I read about. There's been an increase in bear attacks at the same time from March. If you, all these things I'm telling people can be looked up. There's while all these fireballs, large fireball explosions are happening, and the volcanoes that never erupted in human history, they've been dormant for all of human history, have never erupted or erupting now. And you know, you all these series, like I said, the blood moons, and then the total solar eclipses that made an X over America, which is a very bad sign of God's judgment. And so these things must not be ignored, especially by people who believe in God and Bible prophecy. Okay. So, you know, an increase in bear attacks. Why? Why are bears? What is this energy? Because a lot of people can feel it. Let me know, Sister Indiana. Are you able to feel that something's different this year, or even recent before this year? Recently, are you able to feel something? You know, I have been. I have heard people talking about Yellowstone. Now, when I looked it up, when I looked at what the U.S. Geological Society was saying, they were saying that that no, there's no chance that it can erupt. Well, but guess what? Two dormant volcanoes that never erupted in human history have erupted.